Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's episode is going to be all about Hawaii's mandatory 14-day quarantine. Now, basically, once you come into Hawaii before October 1st, you will have to quarantine for 14 days. Yes, there is talks about having a program starting October 1st, but we'll talk about that later. I'm making this video because my Airbnb has been blowing up with people trying to reserve or inquiring about staying at my Airbnb while doing the quarantine. And so I wanted to kind of make this video so people can truly understand what the quarantine is, because these are the questions I'm getting. For instance, I know about Hawaii's 14-day quarantine, but is your place located on a beach so we can go for a walk? What places do you recommend renting a car from? Hi, wondering what cheaper pricing we can get with the whole quarantine thing going on. Coming from California, are we allowed to hang out by the pool area or grassy area or have to stay inside? You get the picture. Lots of questions. People don't know the answer. I'm already a little bit hesitant even saying this. I don't even know if I should say it because I feel like people are going to try to find a way to get this exemption. But there are certain people that are exempt from the quarantine, but that is just mainly medical professionals and things like that. And you have to have that all set up before arriving at the airport. So here are the general rules with Hawaii's 14-day quarantine. Rule number 1 is that you must stay inside your visitor lodging or hotel the entire 14 days. You cannot rent a car, whether it's through a car rental agency or car sharing platform like Turo. You cannot go to any shared facilities. Can't go down to a pool, can't go to a spa, can't go to the gym that's inside of your hotel. Can't go there. This is a big one I think people aren't aware of. So all food, whether it's groceries or restaurant food, has to be delivered to you, or have a relative or something like that bring it to you. You cannot even go to a restaurant to do takeout or anything like that. You have to stay in your place, have food, supplies, whatever, delivered to your hotel door. You cannot go to any public places either. You cannot go to the beach, can't go to parks, you can't go shopping. Cannot go to any of those public places. You cannot have visitors come and say hello and come inside and come hang with you. The only people that you can be around is if you are visiting a relative and staying. That's your place that you're going to be staying. That's the only people that you can have around you during your quarantine. Now, unless you're a returning resident and so you have a home, or you're visiting and staying with relatives, you must quarantine in a hotel or motel. You cannot use short-term rentals or vacation rentals. It's painful for us vacation rentalers, but there were a lot of people breaking quarantine and they weren't, being watched by the owners of the place. A lot of people live off islands, so they have made it now officially a rule that unless it's your own home or your family's home where you're going to be staying, you must quarantine in a hotel or motel, and then you can transit to vacation rental after your quarantine's up. So those are kind of the basic rules. And if you truly want to just generalize everything, the one sentence is, you cannot leave your place at all unless it's a medical emergency. If you're caught even walking out of your place, oh, I'm gonna go take the dog for a walk, I'm gonna go throw out the trash, anything like that, you cross that barrier and someone catches you, the cops can fine you up to $5,000 and or imprison you for up to a year. A little Q&A for you guys in case hearing you can't do anything during those 14 days and you still have questions. Here are some typical questions that I get or people get who are hosts. So one question, who needs self-quarantine? Okay, so anyone who is traveling from out of state needs to quarantine. And if you're inter-island traveling, anyone going to Maui, Kauai, or Hawaii needs to quarantine. And again, if you have an exemption that you receive and get approved for before arriving at the airport, big emphasis on that, before you arrive at the airport, then obviously you don't need to quarantine either. Can I get a COVID-19 test so I don't have to quarantine? No. There is a pre-travel testing program that's in the works to be starting October 1st, but the details haven't even been released or anything like that. And the governor has already said that he can't guarantee he's not going to push back the date even further. He's already done it twice on the reopening. We were supposed to opened back in August and then in September 1st, and now it's October 1st, but he's not guaranteeing that he's not going to delay it again. What are the chances that they will delay reopening? Your guess is as good as anybody's. No one has any clue, so stay tuned. If I can't rent a car, how do I get to my hotel or lodging? You can use like local Uber, Lyft, or a taxi. Just like I said, you can't personally rent a car or use a car sharing thing like Turo. But Lyft and Uber are okay, and taxi services. I'm living or visiting people who didn't travel with me. Does the whole house have to quarantine? This is actually a super interesting question and kind of doesn't fully make sense, but no, those people do not need to quarantine. Obviously, if any of you start like showing symptoms or anything like that, please, for the love of God, stay put. But no, so say your parent went off to the mainland and came back, they're the only ones that have to quarantine, and the rest of the house can go to the grocery store, let's say, and like get you groceries and things like that. But remember, you cannot have visitors come in to the house during that 14-day period. Only the people that you usually live with can be in that house, and the people who are not traveling that live in that house can come in and out of the house. I've also put the Hawaii Travel Authority website down below in the description just in case you want to get more information. Basically, like anything that you're deciding that you might think you might be able to do during quarantine, like no, you cannot do anything possible, basically, except sit in that hotel room on that little bed watching TV, maybe doing some push-ups in the room or something like that, but you cannot leave that room unless it's a medical emergency. There you go, guys. I think that covers all the bases about quarantining. But just so everyone knows, you know, I think that residents get an idea if they're going off island, come back, but a lot of people that are just wanting to come here for vacation are feeling like that we're not given this like aloha spirit and feeling, you know, like these outcasts and things like that. It has nothing to do with that. You know, we as islands and our businesses are obviously suffering with the lack of tourism. So it's not like we don't want tourism. I think that we're a small state, and then on top of that, we're divided up into these little islands, and we only have so many resources, right? We only have so many ICU beds and things like that, and per island. And we have a lot of elderly people, and the aloha spirit is with looking out for one another and, you know, sacrificing money and tourism to make sure that we are protecting each other and being the good neighbor and just taking care of each other. So don't feel so angry that, you know, our borders are somewhat closed. Just know that we're doing it because we care about each other and we care about this state and are just trying to be safe. I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and click that like button. And if you want more hosting info, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.